Okay, we are breaking new ground here. I hope everyone's being safe and healthy. And first of all, I want to say that you really have to pay attention to what the school's telling you. I can't override anything the school is telling you. And I know that the emails that came out over the past 3 days, they were often very contradictory. One making it sound like the school was shutting down, and then one coming along saying, no, it's business as usual. But the one that I'm going by today, there was a announcement that said update to online instruction or something to that effect. But it said if you can do your class online, then please do so. So we're perfect candidates for that. Now, I can't tell you if it's just going to be this week or if it's going to be through the end of the semester. So that's why it's incredibly important that you pay attention to what the school's telling you, and then secondarily that you for our class that you check your emails quite regularly, and check the announcements in Titanium, as they will probably be updated more than normal at this point. So we're just going to have to take things one week at a time and pay attention to the official announcements from the school. Now, as of right now, the college is still open. So if you need to get to the library, to use the computers there to get your work done, then that's what you do, unless they actually cancel or close the whole campus. In which case, I might have to make alternate assignments for people who can't get the work done if they don't have a computer. But I'll have to check in with the department to be sure on that, because I'm not sure what they told you your requirements are as a student. Hopefully, it won't come to that. Um, so who knows? We may end up meeting in person next week. And I got to tell you though, I kind of made it clear the first day of class that I'm pretty easy to get along with, unless I feel like you're trying to work me. So I will have zero tolerance for I didn't know. If you've got an issue, you need to let me know what it is and when I can expect to get the work from you. And then I'll have to decide based on what the school's policy is on, you having computers or not, whether it'll be marked late or not. But if you just don't turn stuff in for a couple weeks and then start coming up with excuses, it's going to be pretty hard for me to accept them. So check in with what's due, get it turned in, do communicate with me. Now, as always, medical excuses override all that. So, if you got a doctor's excuse, then of course you get the more time as stated in the syllabus. Okay, so since we're breaking new ground here, what I'm going to try to do is use this symbol inside of Titanium to let you know that this is something new. This is only because we're meeting online. So for today, you'll see this in today's announcement, and it will tell you how to turn in today's assignment. So for today, here you see the little symbol, and it says, for today, you will upload your file using the link on the home page of Titanium just below the section that shows announcements and all of our files. So it may not look exactly the same for you, but it should look pretty close to this, that when you go into our class, you will see this section here that you've probably been using to go to announcements, and then if you ever needed to download a file, should be just below that. Right now it just says topic 1, but it says 2 or more pages for your portfolio site. So you should just click on that. There should be some kind of a link here that you click, and then you will upload your 2 pages. And then in the future, if it's more of a in-class critique, then I'll probably ask you to comment on other people's websites, but we'll deal with that later. But it should work that you just upload your, and you can do one JPEG that contains the 2 or more pages, or you can do them one at a time, but obviously just to the one link that you post them, and then I should be able to click on it, give you feedback on it. I won't post your grade in there, so everyone can feel free to look at everybody else's work. And if you do have something to add and the system will let you, feel free to do it. Otherwise, as you probably know, you can contact each other with this link here inside of Titanium, and help each other out with feedback in that way. So just FYI, the only file size that, or the max file size that this accepts is 5 meg. And please do follow instructions. I asked for a JPEG, put a JPEG in there. I'm assuming I should hopefully be able to see it without having to download it. But under no circumstances send me files where I have to link into a third-party software, So in other words, don't email me the files. Use this system, and it'll make it easy for both of us. A, for me to give you feedback. B, for me to look at your files. Start testing your 000 hosting again, because if we do not meet in person by the time process checks are due on the site itself, that is how they will be done. You will email me or post your URL, and I'll check them based on that. So as many of you encountered, that site is very temperamental. Get another one if you need to, or get, any way that you send me a link that I can see it is fine. You do not have to keep the same URL week after week. So if you decide that 000 hosting isn't for you and you want to get another plan, that is fine. All I'm looking for is a URL that you can post your site on. For the process checks if we do not meet in person, and then of course eventually by the time it's due it needs to be up live anyhow. Let's go over what is due for next week. So next week, the 20th of March, the printout was supposed to be what was due. So, and I'm not going to flip-flop and change things on you as, maybe things adjust with the college. So for right now, my assumption is that we won't meet in person. So I'm going to show you how to prepare should you have to turn stuff in online next week. But if the college says, no, you will meet next week, and I let you know that we are meeting next week, I will still expect you to have done what I'm telling you right now. So you will not, whether we meet in person or online, turn in an actual printed project for next week. But it's important that you follow these steps and get everything ready like you were going to print the file. Okay, so look at the examples of works that I showed you in class last week and figure out how it is that you want to show your website on 1 or 2 pages of 13 by 19 clean Epson paper. Now, they could be trimmed a little bit. I'm a big fan of nice multiple intervals on a page. So if in the end you decide that 13 by 18 is the best size, or 12.5 by 19, because that's what would look awesome in your portfolio, then by all means do that. That is much better than having some awkward white space on there. So you go through this whole thing pretending like you are going to print, and right when you get up to the point where you are about to hit the print button, hold yourself back, make a copy of that file. Eventually you will either turn in the print file or you will videotape it on your camera and send me the proof that you did. So how we'll handle it for next week in the short term is I will have you turn in the electronic version of this. So now what you have to imagine is that this 13 by 19, or whatever you decided to trim it to make it look perfectly beautiful, as close to that size as possible, is what you will turn in as a JPEG to me. Now, what you have to imagine is that this JPEG would go on my website, just like what this link would take you to. So I have very, very specific requirements for the size, and I have a whole set of video instruction that will take you there. But I absolutely will not accept people just getting lazy and making a document that's the exact size, 1600 by 1200 pixels, and turning that in. So if you do that, you're going to get a 0 on the grade. Also, if you turn it in and it doesn't meet the requirements of the videos that I'm about to show you, you will get a 0 on it, and I will allow you to resubmit it with a minus 8-point reduction. And assuming you turn it in the second time and it's still wrong, you can turn it in up to 1 more time with a total of -12 taken off. And then if you don't get it by, one, two, third attempt, then, unfortunately you won't be able to turn it in. But the instructions are pretty clear. Okay, so I just added the link here. And as this says, the second and third video in the link before shows you how to do this if your project is now in Illustrator. And the fourth video shows you how to do it assuming your project never left Photoshop. So if we go to this link, it takes you same place as if you go to the Prof. Steve G website and you go to instructional videos, turn in files. So this first video is just showing students how to get Illustrator files ready, which won't apply to you for next week. But this one right here assumes that you're in Illustrator. You have maybe you have images in there as well, but it's vector graphics is the main part of Illustrator, and how to convert that into a bitmap image. Now the thing is, it's a specific size that I'm after, and not an exact size. That's why if you turn in something that's 600 by 1200, you'll get a 0 on it, because I know that the ratio coming from 13 by 19 does not match that. And if by some miracle yours comes out exactly to 16 by 1200, then I need an explanation of how in the world that happened. It is possible, but it's a pretty long shot. Okay, and then and I guess I better explain that a little bit more. So what I would need you to tell me is that, well, I trimmed a little bit off my printout in my head and it came out to this size. So you need to tell me that my printout, when printed, would be, instead of 13 by 19, it would be 13 by, let's say, I was going to trim an inch off, was 13 by 18, and by some super coincidence that just happened to be 16 by 1200, and I'm obviously just making the inch numbers up right now. Okay, and then so this is the conclusion of that, how to set that up to this exact size, and then just trim a little bit off the top or bottom so that it fits in the web area that we're talking about. And this may seem like, wow, I got to watch 2 videos just to turn this in for Steve. Hopefully you don't look at it this way. The whole idea is that these 2 videos will show you how to make anything from Illustrator into any type of bitmap file for the future, which is very important, maybe for a kiosk, anything for your own portfolio. Okay, and then the fourth video in here is if your project never left Photoshop, which is very rare for a print-based designer, because as we all know, we make our images or adjust our images in Photoshop, but we lay out our text either in Illustrator or Photoshop. But in the case of web design, may happen that it's never left Photoshop, and then in this case, this is the video that you would follow. Okay, so that's one thing due for next week, and then the other thing is to get a start on your portfolio site. So I have these videos that I've made on creating a site in Dreamweaver. And just to let you know, since you have access to LinkedIn Learning for free, these are the videos that it parallels from LinkedIn Learning. And then since the time I made them, LinkedIn Learning posted even a newer set of videos. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is it's up to you where you want to get that information from. If you're really nervous about making the website, I would suggest you follow my instructions, because I can help you the most, because everything that's been done in mine, I've tried and tested and built on my own. So there's an option for navigation on the left, navigation on the top that I'll take you right through. And then if that's the route you choose to go, you'll just need to get a little more further instruction for fully building the contact page, which is a requirement for this project, and we'll talk more about that later. But if you're already like, I can do that, no problem, then watch these or any instruction that you choose, or just essentially get it done. But if you don't get it done, whatever's missing on the site, whichever direction you choose to go, I can't make exceptions for you. In other words, you have to turn in a working website. And finally, starting next week, we'll start learning Adobe XD, but you have access to it already for free in LinkedIn Learning. So, as you have slots in your time schedule, you may as well start learning that. So stay tuned for further updates and let me know if you have questions. Email.